We welcome in Jim Duquette now, and we're less than 2 weeks out from opening day. So where do we stand as far as extension talks for both Francisco Lindor and Michael Conforto?
Well, yeah, Maria, I'll tell you the one thing, Andy Martino mentioned this earlier today about the conversation on Lindor. And I think early on with him, at least with the Mets, they gave an idea of a little under $300 million. They know where the parameters are, at least on the low end. And on the high end, I was told with Lindor, he's been looking for, well, at least with an offer closer to what Mookie Betts got last year with the Dodgers before he was a free agent, $365 million. Somewhere in the middle is where that number, I think, will end up. And I think the question will end up being, will the Mets be willing to go to that number a little bit closer, maybe to the 340 number, which is what Fernando Tatis Jr. signed for. So that's the trick part there. But there is a window that you can get Lindor done. And that one obviously is going to end. The deadline is opening day. Michael Conforto, it's a little harder to find out the details. Scott Boras is his representative. It's very secret, very private. I reached out to the Boras Corp, was not able to get any information at all. So this one's a little trickier, and this is what makes dealing with Scott very difficult. You can do deals, but a lot of times you're not beholden to the deadlines of opening day. You can have conversations with him during the course of the summer potentially. So that also I think factors into it. But Conforto's a guy that's going to get paid a lot of money for the reasons that he's a team leader. He can handle New York City. He's a middle of the lineup bat. Fan favorite. There's so many factors there that really, from a Mets perspective, you want Conforto in the Mets uniform for the long term.
As a former GM, how would you go about handling these negotiations and the aforementioned Scott Boras?
So, yeah, I think there's two ways. I think the first one is if there's a deadline on one of them, then I deal with the deadline first and just make my best offer. And really factoring into all this is the thought that there are going to be a couple of good shortstops out on the free agent market this winter beyond Lindor. So Corey Seager with the Dodgers and Carlos Correa with the Astros, Trevor Story with the Rockies. So that factors into what you make for an offer. With Conforto, he's a huge priority too. But if I don't have the deadline of opening day, that's one that I would tend to let go into during the course of the summer, not necessarily be up against the April 1st deadline. And, Conforto is the guy that if I were to make a priority, I'd want him first because I know the player. I know he can handle New York. So, there are different discussions, different negotiations. And Scott Boras is extremely difficult to deal with. But I would push that one out a little bit and see if I could get something done middle of the summer.